After several long months of legal trouble, a settlement has been reached between popular blogger Steve Carbone and the production company behind the Bachelor, Bachelorette, and Bachelor Pad franchise. Carbone, who is more commonly known as Reality Steve, was sued last December by NZK Productions on alleged claims that he had exchanged money for information from the show's contestants. And although he maintained his innocence throughout the ordeal, the reality spoiler king decided to end the legal battle and get back to what he loves, getting exclusive details on reality TV shows. So to find out how he came to this decision and also how the settlement will impact his future, we're going to bring in Steve right now by way of Skype. It's so great to have you today, Steve.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Well, you have, of course, talked about it on your blog, but could you just briefly tell us about this legal action that was filed against you and how the settlement was reached?
It came about last December. They had some emails that I had sent to some contestants from Ben's season after they had returned home from filming. You know, I'd never done this before, and it was just kind of weird for me. And I had some information on the beginning of Ben's season, and I had some information on the end of Ben's season, but there was stuff in the middle that I was missing, and information was coming kind of slow, so I was like, oh, why don't I just go to one of the contestants and see if they'll tell me something, and and offered them compensation for it, and I was rejected. And somehow those emails got turned over to production, and they came after me thinking that that's how I get my information, that I'm telling these people to breach their contracts, which wasn't the case. I mean, with those three girls, I tried and I failed, but this is not an annual practice of mine. It's something that I came off a couple pretty good seasons. The site was profitable last year. I decided to try it, and it obviously really backfired, and something that I'm never going to do again. But I learned my lesson. Shouldn't have done it, and then you move on.
Well, during the past 7 months of this legal battle, were you offered any other settlement deals, or really how was this one decided upon, and what made you make this decision?
Yeah, I mean, there were. I mean, we've been talking for since December, and it was just one of these things where I did not feel comfortable in what they wanted me to sign. I felt they had a little too much control over me. I knew eventually if I was going to settle, I was going to sign something that I was going to give up some civil liberties that I normally wouldn't have to give up if I were to fight this thing all the way to the end. But the bottom line was it was going to cost way too much money in the end, even if I did end up winning the case, which I felt I would have, since I never succeeded in interfering with a contract, and they would have had to prove that the information that I got last season was from those girls. And I can tell you, and Emily and Casey S. and Jacqueline can all tell you, they never told me anything. Hell, they were scared of me, and specifically told me in emails, like, I don't want to get in trouble. I can't help you out. I'm sorry. And even more that I kept prodding, they just kept ignoring the emails. And maybe because I kept prodding is why the emails were turned over. I don't know. But the bottom line was they never told me anything. And I knew that, which is why I continued with the spoilers. But even if I were to continue with this case, if I would have continued to go on with it, I eventually would have won, I think. But there was no guarantee that I would have ever gotten my legal fees back, and I couldn't take that chance. I didn't want to go down that road. And when they came with their latest settlement a couple weeks ago, I said, I can live with this. This is fine. Yeah, I'm giving up some civil liberties, and because it's not against the law to send an email to somebody, just to say, hey, how you doing? But I agreed to stay away for the most part, and just kind of do my own thing. And I'm still going to be able to do what I do, and I was happy with their latest settlement. They conceded a few things that they didn't have in their earlier settlements, and I conceded a few things. So I feel that we reached a good agreement.
While it was clear that the production company had never really supported your work, were you surprised when they actually did file the lawsuit against you, though?
Yeah, I was. I think my readers know. I think the contestants of this show know. And I certainly know that what I do only brings attention to their show, so I don't know why they would would try and go after the guy that's spoiled their seasons for the last 3 years. Maybe they were trying to make an example out of people. I don't really know. I don't know why they wasted so much time and effort. Obviously, I don't want to say wasted money, because the money that they spent on me is a drop in the bucket to them. It's $5 to you and me, but obviously the money I had to spend to defend myself was getting astronomical. It was just getting way out of hand with every single phone call and email from their lawyers to my lawyers to me to my lawyers. It got way too expensive. I couldn't deal with it, and I'm glad they came forward with a better settlement. But why they did it, I don't know. I still don't know to this day. I've never really gotten an answer as to what the point of it was when we told them none of the information that I spoiled last season came from somebody that was paid, because I don't pay anybody. I've never paid anybody. I offered to those 3 girls but was rejected, so I don't really get it.
Right. Well, what can you tell us about the support that you received from your fans during this ordeal?
Well, it was interesting because, this lawsuit started in the beginning in December, and for 4 months I didn't do anything other than I got my bills every month from my lawyers, and I was like, wow, this is really starting to pile up. And there was a blogger out there by the name of Matthew Chan who came to my defense, and I had never heard of this guy before. I didn't even know who he was, but he has a website where he talks about stuff, legal issues with the average Joe who gets put in a lawsuit and fighting against kind of the big man versus little man, and he's sticking up for the little man. He saw my case, took an interest in it, and suggested in one of his blog posts, Steve should ask for his readers for help, because they obviously are large, and it wouldn't help. It would definitely help for them to chip in, and so I did. I said, look, if you want to donate, that's great. If you don't have to, but just know it's going towards a good cause, which it was. It helped me pay my legal fees, even though it was a small dent in what I owe my lawyers. It helped, and it helped me pay it down at least a little bit. And then once the settlement was over, I took it down, and I still have an outstanding bill that I'll take care of myself. But as it got more ridiculous, I said, why not try for help, and let's see if my readers will help me, and they did.
That's great. And actually, I saw that Matthew Chen even created a change.org petition for you. So he and Twitter followers and Facebook fans really came together.
Yeah, I didn't really know what change.org was. I didn't, I guess there was over 2,000 signatures on that petition, and I guess you need 5,000 or something like that to make some sort of dent, or where it gets taken to another level. I don't know. It was one of those things where I appreciated what he did, and I personally sent him an email and thanked him for what he did. I said he didn't have to do it. I never told him to do it. I didn't even know who he was until someone pointed out, hey, this guy wrote an article on you, and I read it, and I pretty much agreed with everything he wrote in it. It's over and done with now. I appreciate what Matthew did. I appreciate the support I got from my readers, and all that money went to my lawyers, and it dropped the bill down a little bit for the time being, but I'm going to handle it from here.
Okay. Well, as far as the terms of the settlement go, some people are wondering how the content going forward will be impacted. Will there be any hesitancy, or will the quality be impacted at all?
No, not in the least bit. Now, I think a lot of people are reading a lot into this season, because I have not revealed the ending yet of this season. And the reason I haven't revealed the ending yet of this season, because I don't know it. And people are making the correlation, oh, it must be because of the lawsuit. I don't think it is. I could find out tomorrow what the ending is. I also might not find out for another 2 or 3 weeks. I don't know. In my opinion, it doesn't have anything to do with the lawsuit, because I've spoiled plenty of things while Emily's season has been going on, while the lawsuit was still ongoing. So nothing that I get will prevent me from spoiling the show from now and going into the future. It's still going to be the same thing when you come to realitysteve.com. Any spoilers that I get about this show and going forward, I'm going to release. The biggest thing that the lawsuit in a nutshell, I can tell you that the lawsuit is basically saying, don't pay anybody for your information. So fine. I've never paid anybody for information. So I'm not really worried about that happening. It just took them 6 to 7 months to finally put that in the settlement. There were other language they were using that I wasn't happy with.
Well, as far as your big takeaway from this, what would you say that is, and really what advice would you give to other bloggers that could find themselves going up against big corporations as you had to?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lesson learned. I shouldn't have offered anybody money for information. The thing is, if you read it, if you pick up Us Weekly, or you pick up Star or In Touch or whatever, and you read the stories and you see quotes from an insider or source or friend of so and so, those people are all getting paid to give quotes. And for 3 years, I just kind of sat back and watched it happen. I'm like, okay, I've made some money on my site. I can offer some money to people to tell me information. Problem was I offered it to people under contract. And I wasn't really thinking at the time, to be honest with you. It's kind of just like, oh, maybe they'll take it. Because, the Bachelor doesn't pay their contestants. So I'm like, hey, they don't get paid for the time they took off to do that show. Maybe they'll, want some money in return for telling me a few things, here and there that happened. Right. So that was the mistake. And, I don't need to do that. I've never done it before. I tried, I failed. And going forward, I'm just not going to do it. So, per the agreement. So, but I have plenty of other means to get information, just like I have for the last 3 years. So, I would just say be careful in who you talk to and who you offer money to, I guess.
Well, taking that just a little bit further, would you like to see media rights extended to bloggers?
Well, I don't see why it wouldn't be. I think, part of the reason they came after me was maybe because I've been a thorn in their side for 3 years. I mean, there's no one else that has gotten the name recognition in regards to spoiling the show that I have. Right. I'm not saying that to brag or boast. I'm just saying, I'm stating it as a fact. I mean, there's really nobody else out there doing what I'm doing on a consistent basis. So I'm sure it had a lot to do with, okay, he's been a thorn in our side. We've never had anything on the guy. Now we've got written proof that this guy is emailing our contestants and offering them money. Let's go after him and make him bleed a little bit. And I think that probably had something to do with it. But, honestly, what I did was not illegal. To offer somebody is not illegal. If they would have accepted it and it would have got out, yeah, I guess it could have been ugly. But I don't, at that point, I don't know what would have happened or whatnot. But the bottom line was, once they got the emails and once they notified me, hey, we're in possession of these emails, the very next day I emailed Casey, Emily, and Jacqueline and told them, I've been informed that the Bachelor producers are pursuing litigation against me, claiming that I got information from this season from you guys. This is to withdraw my request and to say that you guys never gave me any information. They didn't release that when the whole lawsuit came up. But immediately, the very next day, I have the proof. I sent it to their lawyers. They know. I stopped the very next day, and I told those girls, we're done. You didn't give me anything anyway, but this is just to let you know, just disregard everything I sent you. I'm not interested anymore. I've been warned, and I'm going to abide. And that's what I did. So, it's, like I said, it's a lesson learned. I shouldn't have done it.
All right, but now you can put this chapter behind you and focus on reality, Steve, right?
Yeah, that's what I plan to do. I wish, some information this season it's been interesting. It's come in bits and pieces. And, I have an idea kind of what happened at the end, but nothing that in the past, I'm like, okay, I'm 100% certain. Like with Ben and Courtney, I absolutely knew 100% he was engaged to her in Switzerland. And before that was Ashley's season, and I knew 100% that she was engaged to JP. So I ran with it. I don't have that 100% certainty. I'm up there. I think I know, but I don't have everything in place like I'd like it to be.
Well, we will keep watching for when you do reveal that. Thank you so much for talking with us, Steve, and best of luck going forward.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. And for more on Steve's take on reality television, visit realitysteve.com. I'm Abby Johnson reporting for WebPro News.